Hi, Mrs. Stiles. My name is Missy Tondini, and I'm with Trinity Christian College, and I would like to ask you a couple of questions. What is your philosophy of education?
Well, my philosophy of education focuses on an atmosphere that is positive and safe, but I feel kids learn best when when we have some laughter and enjoyment going on in the room. I also believe that all students are capable of learning, and I consistently strive to ensure that my students are reaching their full academic potential. Differentiated instruction is included and incorporated into our lesson plans so that we can meet the different learning styles. We encourage students to take responsibility. And when I say we, I'm saying we because I am in a co-taught classroom, so the special ed teacher is in here full-time with me throughout the day. So it's actually Ms. Stiles and Ms. Wilkie's room. We encourage students to take responsibility for their learning and develop pride in their own work. And we actively look for opportunities so that both Ms. Wilkie and I can reflect upon our lessons and use that to increase our own learning opportunities to create better lessons in the future and meet individual needs as they need it. And I definitely feel that what's most important and essential is to create a loving, trustful relationship with my students, because I like that one-on-one connection and that they feel like they're comfortable not just learning from me, but sharing anything that may arise in their own personal lives.
Okay. Can you describe the teaching techniques or strategies that are most effective for you?
My favorite strategies are metacognitive strategies. I love to do think alouds where I'm modeling what my brain is thinking. So if we're solving a problem, I might say, oh, right now my brain is thinking, or I'm asking myself the question, ... And then, so we'll do some modeling, and then the next step would be to prompt students. So if we're doing a lesson, I might say, what should your brain be thinking now? And the next thing you need to ask yourself is, such as the different prompts like that. And then the final, where we hope to get, is where kids will respond saying, well, right now my brain is thinking, or I got the answer because I asked myself this question. So one example I had marked is for students to respond with such phrases as, my brain is thinking 10 to the 10 squared means 10 times 10, which is 100. So if I'm multiplying any number times 10 squared, I know that I'm multiplying it by 100.
Okay. What techniques do you use to keep your students actively involved during a lesson?
Okay, we like to keep our kids actively as moving and also mind engaged. So metacognitive prompts help keep their mind engaged as we do those throughout the lesson or throughout the day. But we also have them move. So we'll have them respond by clap twice if you agree, or snap twice if you agree with so-and-so's answer. We encourage them to respond, I agree or disagree, and provide evidence as to why. We also have them, it's big in here, we have them analyze their own errors, so then once again they're mind engaged, and then they have to tell us what their error was and then correct it. We have them, when we're assessing, we might have them move to a certain area of the room. If you think this, or this, hold up 3 fingers if you have 3 stars or 5 stars, just so that they're moving in different rooms, or different parts of the room. We also have them use dry erase boards instead of paper pencil all the time. Manipulatives are always incorporated into our lessons so that we're touching and moving stuff. So those are the techniques that work best for me.
Can you describe what you consider to be a model classroom, and what would a typical day look like in your classroom?
Okay, the kids arrive at anywhere from 8:20 to 8:40 is our morning routine. So they come in and we have a things to do list written on the board. And they're in steps in the order that we want them to do, and it includes morning work assignment. And then from 8:40 to 8:50, everyone's supposed to be here, and attendance is taken, lunch count, etc. Ms. Wilkie and I circulate amongst the room and help students as well as peer tutors. At 9 o'clock or 8:50 every day, we have a special music, art, or library or computers. And then when we return from our special, we usually have 10 more minutes where we'll check our morning work, get ready and such for our literacy block. And then we have guided reading groups. So at this time, Ms. Wilkie takes her guided reading group, and I do 2 guided reading groups in this period. So it's usually she has the low group, and I have the low average, high average, and high group. So at this time, I usually take the lower average and the high average and meet with them. Well, they're not working. If you're not working with me, then you're either working on a word work assignment or an independent activity that we have up there as our things to do when I'm not in a guided reading group list. We do a lot of things to do lists on the board so that they don't have to ask as many questions. After guided reading groups are done, then we have a snack, and at this time we're reading aloud to the students. After our snack, we have our mini lesson, which focuses on a standard that we're reporting. After our mini lesson is a grammar lesson, and then at 11:20 completes our literacy block, and we have PE. So then we have a half-hour break, and then we do our restroom, regular stuff, and 12 to 12:30 is our RTI time. So during this RTI block, I either meet with my high guided reading group or I'm doing math interventions. After RTI is our recess, lunch, and then from 1:30 to 2:10, in order to get them more prepared for 5th grade, we rotate from room to room. So I'm responsible for teaching social studies to my class and 2 other classes, and my class goes to another teacher for science twice a week and writing once a week. So the 5th grade are transitioning during this time period. And then from 2:15 to 3:15 is our math lesson. As far as a model classroom, I don't know that I've ever witnessed a model classroom, but I feel like a model classroom is a day where you have the organization and structure. Sometimes though our room learning is going on, but if you walk by you might think that it's structured chaos is what I like to refer to it, is when we do have our different activities going. That's sometimes what it might look like, but it's still organized and there's still rules to follow and goals to reach.
How and will you address your students' different learning styles?
We have given a questionnaire at the beginning of the year where it's just a short 10-question questionnaire where it kind of gives us a basis on what learning style, or lots of times they'll end up a combination of both. And then we keep that data so then we know who's what and who's what. If you're visual, kinesthetic, or auditory. And then when I do my lesson planning, I always revisit my lesson plans to make sure that I have activities that cater to the needs of the auditory, kinesthetic, and my visual learners. We have posters in the room for each, whatever we're working on. However, we don't overload our classroom with visuals because I find that too stimulating, not just for myself who is a visual learner, but for my ADD or ADH students who just kind of want to look all over the place. And if I don't have the information I need, I am constantly researching other teaching styles or different things that teachers have done in their classroom, read a certain lesson so that I can add that to my lesson.
How do you define classroom management?
Well, I think of classroom management as maintaining appropriate, not perfect, behavior of the students in the classroom. I recognize that management plans are necessary to ensure the academic and the social emotional growth of my students. Student behavior for both learning and academics are emphasized. And for example, in the beginning of the year, we had the kids recognize their strengths and weaknesses, and we had a little poster board that, or little bulletin boards, so then they had the strengths up here and the weaknesses down here. And then at the end of the first quarter, we had to analyze our strengths and weaknesses and write both an academic and a behavior goal, and then they created a plan at how they were going to, each 3 different steps that they were going to do to ensure that they would reach that goal. And then the final step was, how do I know when I've reached that goal? So we've had that filled out, and then we'll revisit that second quarter and see if we need to alter or add a new goal.
What are some classroom management techniques you use?
Oh, classroom management techniques. Blue tickets are given to students for individual behavior. We use classroom points for class behavior. Blue tickets you can use at the end of the quarter for by day, and they'll purchase treats, pop, candy, dollar store items, and other knickknacks. And then the class points are used for overall classroom behavior. For example, if we're walking down the hall nicely, then the point person, I would say, so-and-so, please give our class 5 points, and they record it in the point book. The amount of the party is determined based on how much money I have to spend. So the less money, the less points. So for example, an extra recess wouldn't count as much as a Sunday party or a pizza party, and a root beer float party would be somewhere in the middle. We like having the 2 different systems. That way those students who are always doing what they're supposed to, both behaviorally, turn in their homework, etc., thinking of others in the classroom, they are the ones who end up with 30 or plus tickets at the end of the quarter, whereas some of us might only have 6 or 10. The classroom records all of us, so we're working as a team, but yet the individual still caters to the good kids in the classroom.
What are your classroom rules, and who makes the rules?
Okay, well, I designed the rules when I taught 3rd grade, and you can see that they're here. Our planners must be signed, homework completed on time, listen and follow directions, use kind words, keep hands, feet, and objects to ourselves. And I did not have 6 until the past few years. I had to add tell the truth because we had an issue with lying in our classroom, so we just kept that on. I didn't want them to be too many or too wordy.
What are some consequences to your classroom rules?
Okay, our consequences are posted. The first offense is the name in the behavior book. So we have a behavior book person who records the name and whatever rule was broken. So for example, they might put Miss Niles 2 and then on the date. And then that night in their planner, I'll write the number of the rule broken. Parents have these lists at home. And I'll write the number of the rule broken so that they know, oh, if my student got a 2 and a 3 today, then this is where the offense is broken. At the end of the quarter, I have a finalized quarter behavior sheet with a list of all their offenses that they get at the end of the quarter. The first offense is just name in the behavior book. It's a warning. Second offense, they lose a blue ticket, so it's like losing money. Third, they lose recess, and the fourth is a behavior detention where they'd have to stay after school.
What do you do to reward your students?
Our rewards are posted blue tickets. They love them. praise, we have to have intrinsic motivation. Our classroom parties, ACE tickets, which is our school-wide behavior program, yellow tickets, they turn them in to win prizes at the end of the month, or if you get 5 ACE tickets, you can turn them in for a coupon for the morning store. We do free time, and then we have lots of different treats or snacks that are given randomly.
Thank you, Mrs. Stiles, for your time.
You're welcome, Mrs. Tondini.